Hi, everybody. Today we're going to work on a series of animal portraits. And this is actually a follow up to the two previous exercises where we simplified everything down to the basic shapes and painted using just flat blocks of color. We have explored these techniques several times before, but the main takeaway from today's exercise is this. Even when you're comfortable with a particular style or a technique, making small changes, tiny variations, can bring a fresh perspective to your work without compromising your personal style or artistic identity. For instance, in this piece here, all I've done is add a second character and change the background color. That small adjustment already makes the portrait feel very different from the ones that we created before, even if we are using the exact same approach. So the main takeaway is if you're feeling stuck, try small variations instead. We all get stuck sometimes. It's not only beginners, everybody has creative blocks. Sometimes we get frustrated because we've been through a path so many times and we think we know already all the pathways, everything, and we don't understand what we are missing, why we can't find the right directions. We are stuck. Everybody gets to that particular point. It's not a privilege of beginners. Anyone who paints regularly knows that feeling. And that's exactly why the idea of small variations is so valuable, because it doesn't mean abandoning your style, and it also doesn't mean locking yourself into a single formula. It's about exploring that rich, interesting middle ground. You often hear people talk about finding your style or sticking to a particular style or technique. Some people think that you must stick to one look forever, and that's not such a rule, okay? But in the other hand, we have people who jump from one thing to the next, trying something new every other day. We do this in these exercises, but for the sake of exploring techniques and adding them to our artistic identity. There is a beautiful space between those two extremes, being strict to a particular style and technique and jumping to one thing to the other every new project. There is space between those two, a place where you can use the same basic technique, the same materials, the same color palette, the same overall approach, but you allow yourself tiny shifts. Maybe you adjust the proportions a little, or you exaggerate one feature, or you push the color slightly warmer or cooler. Maybe you simplify the background or add a small detail. These subtle changes can teach you so much. They help you understand how your techniques behave, what feels natural, and what resonates with you. And they open up countless little pathways for discovery without overwhelming you. So, why variations help? Keeping the core of your technique the same means you're not juggling new materials or concepts every time, but making small changes keeps the process interesting. You get to stay curious, noticing how a single decision can shift the entire mood of a piece. This is how you build consistency without boredom. This is how you learn without overwhelming yourself. And this is one of the most natural ways to discover what truly feels like you, what it feels like being yourself within your artistic ground. I don't know if you notice, in every piece that we are doing today, we are using basically the same method, same brush strokes, the same palette, the same flat style, yet each one still has its own personality because of a few small choices. And they still belong in the same room because they still talk to each other. And that's the magic of this practice. You don't have to choose between rigidity and chaos. There is a path in the middle where your style grows naturally, one gentle variation at a time. Okay, so since we are in a holiday season, I'm going to spare you from an overly long talk. But I also didn't want to leave you without anything to practice, just in case you feel like painting during your break, or if you want to save this exercise for later. You still have something to work on. But by the time you're watching this, I am away visiting my family back in Brazil. And I believe I have already other two videos uploaded for December. But in January, I want us to step up our game a little, okay? We will continue doing simple exercises, accessible projects. I know how helpful they are, especially for beginners. However, I don't want to treat you as an eternal beginner. I hope that, especially if you have been with us for a while, I want to believe that you are growing, that you are discovering your artistic identity and all. So next year, I'll bring some new elements. We are going to try to experiment with new materials. And I am looking for new ways to interact more with you. I'd love to hear, I'd love for you to tell me what you'd like to see in the coming year. Anyway, a few days ago, I received a comment from a viewer who was a bit disappointed with the cat from the Back to Basics animal series. He felt that all the other animals were more expressive, but the cat didn't quite work for him. So the thing is, once again, I don't expect you to do the same thing that I'm doing. I'm hoping that when you watch one of these exercises, you see, oh, so this is how I can use a photograph as a reference. I can simplify things and do this. So I don't expect you to paint the same thing that I'm painting. Actually, I always will encourage you not to, because I don't want you to be an imitator. If it helps, once again, if it helps, if copying or imitating, if that helps, that's okay. But that should not be your routine, okay? That shouldn't be your practice. Otherwise, you're going to be a master in copying. Anyway, thinking that it just didn't like the way that I represented the cat, today I am hoping we can redeem ourselves with not only one, but two expressive cats. Still using the same technique as before, but with some thoughtful variations. For instance, I'm trying different colors and playing more with texture and volume. And this is all that it takes. So these are the results of what we've done today. I hope you've learned something new today and that you can see how sometimes even the smallest change can make a huge difference in your work. And as always, keep on practicing and thank you for joining us.